Dear ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to our panel discussion. I have to. In 2013, I took over the organization of the weaving culture. You see, English is not my mother speech, so I read from the paper. It helps the translators and me. The organization of the weaving culture part of the basketry market in Lichtenfels, what happened this year again after 2 years of pause. And on behalf of my association, the Center of European Weaving Culture Lichtenfels, Zentrum, europäischer Flechtkultur Lichtenfels. And more it has become an important international meeting place for the weaving craft. With today's panel discussion, which will be led by Serfenta, we want to move towards...
Ja, ich wollte mal hören, was die so erzählen.
I turned off. Please turn off, Michael, turn off your microphone. With today's panel discussion, we want to move towards not only meeting regularly, but also talking to each other regularly. Today, the topic is the future for the craft in general, but also for the weaving craft in particular. I would like to welcome you, dear discussants, and above all of you as an interested professional audience. The future of basketry is a very important issue in our region. For centuries, we supplied the whole world from the upper mine with wickerwork products that were irreplaceable in those days. This has left its marks. In 2010, the institutions of weaving craft, municipalities and interested weaving craftsmen joined forces to form our association in order to give new impetus to the weaving craft and to raise its status in society. This is how the idea for a future concept for weaving culture for the Upper Main region and internationally networked emerged. At that time, I was given the task to coordinate this process, the creation of this concept. And it was even in this place here that we presented the concept in 2014, which was developed together with more than 100 participants in numerous discussions and meetings. That was the beginning of a development based on a concept which continues today and will hopefully bear fruits in the future. A development that gave the weaving craft in our region a new status, our perspective for the future. But there are many, many regions with weaving traditions. Each should find its own ways to bring the craft into focus. The panel discussion today can and should provide impulses for this. Thank you very much for your interest. I would like to hand over to Paulina for some additional works.
Thank you, Manfred, for that introduction. And Paulina, can you say something?
Hello, can you hear me? Good morning, everybody. My name is Paulina Adamska from Serfenta, and I just want to say thank you, Manfred, and the Lichtenfels city for inviting us again. And we are really honored to be a part of this festival one more time. Each year we are bringing something else, and it's really a challenge to accept our crazy, sometimes, ideas. So we hope we will spend some time together here. maybe 2 hours. And we really hope for the next time. Thank you very much. And we really hope this will be a great and fruitful time.
Okay, my name is Ursula Schwedt, and I'm very glad that I can hear and I can conduct this discussion about this really, really important topic, which is the future of craft. It's not only about basketry, it's more about different crafts, because for us, for Serfenta, it's really important to see more than only that one craft like basketry. And we invite people from different countries, people from different worlds sometimes. And our guests are people who are craftsmen, people who inspire craftsmen's work, and people who helps craftsmen sells that product, and we have a different perspective. For a few minutes, I invite all our guests, but some technical things. We spent here almost 2 hours, and the first 1.5 hours is for our panelists, and then if you have some question, that will be time to ask, time for audiences ask. And I think we can start, and I introduce our guests. And I start from our host. And sorry for my German. I try, I try, but sometimes maybe it's not really good German. And the first is Andreas Hugerich. Yeah, it's great. Okay. Andreas Hugerich is the first mayor of Lichtenfels, the city where we are, chairman of the Center of European Weaving Culture Lichtenfels. He lived in Lichtenfels for more than 30 years. And CEW is an association that bundles organizations, communities, and interested locals with the aim to bring basketry into minds and to increase its importance. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your voice. Then time for basket makers. 100 Butterweg. Yeah. Okay. Basket maker, president of the German Basket Makers Association, Verein Flechtwerk, founder of Academy Flechtsommer at Kornbacher Museum Dahlhausen. He studied at Design and Art History at Academy Gut Rosenberg, a special art school for arts and crafts. Verein Flechtwerk is the association which has about 165 members. They share information, dates, requires, sales, and offers. They support meetings, markets, and exhibitions. And yes, and you are from Germany, and it's a voice from Germany. Then time for voice from different part of Europe. It's from Spain. Tim Johnson, hello. And Tim is basket maker too. He's an English artist and basket maker based in Catalonia, Spain. He trained in fine arts in the 1980s, and then he worked in the artwork context for some years, making exhibitions, residence, and education projects. Now he specializes in researching and teaching traditional and contemporary soft material basketry techniques, alongside his own making practice that explores many areas of contemporary basket making. And its voice from Spain, maybe for England too, we will see. And we go to Asia, to Thailand. There is Alexandra Denes. Hello, Alexandra. Okay, she's anthropologist and researcher with the Social Research Institute at Chiang Mai University in Thailand. She operates in Thailand and Southeast Asian region, but she has American, Swedish, and Hungarian background. She is interested in understanding the transformation of crafts from objects for everyday life to commodities. She is also interested in gender roles in relation to craft knowledge. Hello, Alexandra. And Alexandra is our voice from Asia, because it's for us it's really important to hear voice not only from Europe, Asia. It's important too. And next, it's Monika Pawłowska from Poland, like Serfenta. She is from Orska Jewelry. It's a company which makes craft jewelry. And Anna Orska, the owner and designer for Orska, once a year traveled to find a rare, unique craft of material. She has been in Mexico, Peru, Vietnam, and many more. She spent 4 weeks at the place, and during the time she gets to know better the culture and the craft. The result of this journey is jewelry collections. Orska popularizes rare crafts, enable local artists to present their works to a different audience, inspire each other, and create new things, often going beyond the comfort zone. In Poland, Orska, it's really popular concept, and it's a really interesting concept, and it's a reason why we invite Monika from Orska, and it's nice to see you, Monika. And last but not least, it's Serfenta. And Serfenta is an organizer, but it's our guest too. Serfenta from Poland, and it's Paulina Adamska and Łucja Cieślar to head this organization. Yes, to Dragon. Serfenta have been engaged in basketry for over 15 years. They started with ethnographic research at Poland and abroad. Now Serfenta has strong focus for sustainable business. Serfenta is the author of his own business model for a craftsman. And Serfenta connect the traditional basket makers world with the challenges of the contemporary market. And yeah, it's all of our guests. And now I think time for first question. And okay, I need a second because, hold on. Okay. I have a first question to Andreas. Can you start it? What is your perspective? What is the condition of the craft basketry in your country, in your region, in your opinion? Is basketry and craft doing well? Is there any challenge? If so, what? Is anything at risk of basketry craft? Can you tell something more about your perspective, because you are mayor of Lichtenfels, is the city of basketry, and can you tell more about it? How do you see that?
Okay, so first time, so say hello to all of you. It's going to be a great pleasure to have you here back in our city, back in our home. It's so a great weekend for us and for the whole city, for every people there, to meet people from around the globe, and all comes together since 3 years ago. We've seen that last time, so yeah, it's really good. But I hope my English is not so good, so a little bit help like Manfred. So I hope you understand everything. But yeah. You know, I'm not a craftsman, so I can only use that from my distant position. The craft or basket making has changed in our region. So Manfred told us that we started 10 years ago make it to a new chapter. So it's come from larger production companies to small manufacturers. But you can see the diversity. So the innovation, the unique selling points of each weather, especially on the market at the weekend, or the market when we have maybe in springtime. So we even have a shop in our city again. So just across the street, a company has large orders for example, for cruise ships. But the current discussion on the topic of sustainability can give crafts and basket weaving a new meaning to which we must adapt. I think so.
Okay, you are not basket maker, but maybe we can ask.
Just a political.
Okay, but it's important too. And maybe I ask a basket maker right now from German too. How is your perspective, Hans-Gert?
Yes, hello, first of all. Yeah, the perspective. I like to answer it that way. In April, we had our annual meeting from the association, and we discuss all these aspects all the time. So it's a one of the main topics. And even when we meet with colleagues and friends in a different background. But my impression is, maybe it's not representative, but everybody is quite busy, and everybody is more or less happy with what they are doing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's very good economic situation or something. And as a solo craftsman, self-employed, it can be a very fragile situation. We have now energy crisis, we have climate change, we have fascism, we have everything. And of course, this touches our situation, even if we are quite happy. And most of them was my impression. I'm not sure if it's really for everyone, but you know, it's a fragile situation. You never know what the winter will bring, what next year is up. But I'm quite optimistic, and I agree a bit with Andreas. There are some interesting perspectives coming up. So no reason to be more bothered than anyone else.
Okay, thanks. But maybe time for ask Alexandra how it looks like in Asia. How it's your perspective?
Hello, everyone. First of all, very briefly, I'm so glad to be with you, and it's really wonderful to have this opportunity to hear your experiences about basketry and crafts in Europe, and to think about these in relationship to Thailand, where I am, to respond to the question about the situation here in Thailand. I would say overall, the weaving crafts, basketry are doing quite well from a commercial perspective. There's a lot of growing, there's a kind of revival of basketry now, but really more for sort of fashion trends, for home design. You see a lot now in the interior design magazines, or kind of trendy coffee shops will incorporate basketry. And so this is encouraging. But for me, what is an issue of concern, and I'd be interested to hear what other panelists think as well, is that some of the traditional meanings and functions of basketry are really disappearing, and kind of even the story of that history is not part of the presentation of crafts here, of basketry here. So for instance, the role that baskets played traditionally in fishing, local fishing in small streams and rivers, and also in the rice cycle here. And this is all very recent, this sort of loss of the traditional function of baskets. And so I wonder if there have been efforts in Europe to incorporate these stories and functions into the presentation of basketry there. So maybe that's just my sort of big picture for now, and I'll pause for now.
Okay, thanks for your voice. Everyone has a different perspective and a different thing about future, because in Europe, especially in Poland and in Germany, we have a hard situation because we have actually war right now in close to our country and close to Germany, and it's a topic which is really important when we think about future, probably for everyone. And in Thailand, the war is the topic, and you think about it, or you have some different perspective, totally different perspective? Because I think that for us, that topic and the consequence that war it's really important in that time.
Well, certainly it is on it is part of people's consciousness here, and I think in the most immediate way that it's impacting life here is just the cost of petrol, and that has just skyrocketed here and impacted the cost of living significantly, and so I think that keeps the war on the political radar for people, but certainly it's not as immediate as it must be there. And I think here there are, it's just a different kind of political and cultural context that also, of course, then impacts basketry and crafts more broadly differently.
Yes. Okay. I believe this is a discussion, so I can say something. Yes, for a few years, we are also traveling a lot and comparing the situation of the craft, basketry, mostly craft, in many countries, and Europe is really different. If we compare the situation in England, for example, and in Poland, I believe this is different, even in the small area. And when we are visiting, for example, South Korea, what take place in the last year, it is totally different world sometimes. So we see many inspirations and many different ways to thinking of the future of the basketry craft and the craft. And it is really inspiring to compare situation in your country, in our country, in Thailand, and I think it is good to share these conditions of the craft in every country, like we today. Yes, it's not only difference between future of the craft, it's a really big difference between present of the crafts, yes, because we have different situation. And about this difference is my second question, because I would like to ask you about education. Before we go to future, I would like to stay at the present for a moment. And craft can be promoted in many ways. And one way is through education, but the question is education for everybody, something like touch craft, and maybe you want to know more and then you can be a master or something like that, or specialized education, become a skilled craftsman. Which one is more important for future basketry and craft? And and why? And I would like ask Paulina from Serfenta, because I know that education, it's a big topic in your organization.
Yes, it's also my private big concern. I'm really interested how we could develop it, and we are traveling quite often to Scandinavia, especially to Norway. It is on. Your mind. And this question about education is, should we, if I understand it well, should we concentrate only on vocational schools, very professional education? Or should we let the audience, people who are coming to our workshops, let them touch the craft, let them try. And of course, I would like our craft to be alive and to be lively and to have all the materials which we met in Poland, starting from willow, ending on the roots of the trees. I would really love to have it all and to share it with you when you are coming and visiting us. But we found during our work and research, we found, and we really need to be more concentrated also to inviting people which would like maybe to spend with us on maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and let them feel excited like we are with our basket making, with our craft, and to let them touch it, just maybe even for a moment. And this is what we found very interesting now recently in Serfenta. We can't say of course, we are not thinking about specialized skills, basketry skills, but we found how this is important for the world, for the people who are visiting us. We have the studio in the center of the town in Cieszyn. This is the south of Poland. Very interesting place because Cieszyn is exactly on the border with Czech Republic, really. You need to check it and visit us. And because we have this studio, which is quite open for the people which are just passing us on the street. And it's very, very often that someone is just coming inside because we have something interesting in the windows, yes? So what is this? What is this material? What do you have here? And then we are very, very often has this kind of conversations about the natural materials. And then people are visiting and they are just shocked because the smell, of the straw, of the roots, this is very something which maybe reminds us and them something important, maybe emotions, maybe memories from the childhood. So my answer is maybe not so easy, and I wouldn't say it is like that and that, but I just need to show bigger context of this.
Yes, but I think maybe it's important to tell our audience that in Poland we don't have professional education in basketry and in crafts actually, and I think it's one difference between, for example, Poland and Germany, because we don't have a school in craft school
Yes.
school in Lichtenfels, for example.
Yeah, it finished. We had for vocational schools in the past, and I was taught basketry by the former teacher of this kind of school. It was in Kwizyn in north of Poland. So what we have now, we have different smaller workshops, and we have still traditional craftsmen. And this is the way where we can find these skills. So because of the situation which is in Poland, then we need to reconsider where to find this teaching and knowledge, and how we should organize also our organization.
Okay, Tim, you are a
Hello.
teacher too, yes?
I'm a basket maker, an artist, a teacher, a researcher.
Okay, and can you tell us more about who are your students, or how you teach crafts? Because you are in Catalonia, yes? No, in England.
Yes, I'm an English basket maker, but I'm living in Spain. So my perspective is mixed. So I'm based in Spain, but I teach often in England, but also in Germany, as I have been this past week in Dalhousen. And just to go back to the question of whether the education should focus on the sort of the touch of the basket making or the professional refined skills, I don't really make I think you have to look after both. If you only look after one, then you're forgetting the other, because for basket making to evolve and develop today, we need absolutely highly skilled professional makers, but they also, very importantly, need a market and an audience to receive their work. And if the general public who are not basket makers, if they do not understand the material, or if they have never touched a basket, or if they haven't had a basket in their home, then they won't think of a basket, of buying a basket for themselves, for use as a gift, for their work. So we have to look after both. It's not one or the other. And then to your question, how do I work with my students? In my workshops, I invite all levels of people. So people with a lot of experience and absolute beginners, as has happened this week. And for me, that is very exciting, because in a workshop with a number of people, you have a conversation. So you have the people who are coming to the craft for the very first time. Maybe it's the only basket they ever make, but maybe they go on and spend a lifetime in the craft. That's possible too. And you never know. Hopefully the professional makers don't stop making after my workshop, but anyway. No, you make everybody welcome, and everybody is it's a a learning environment from everybody. So they're learning the specific techniques and the materials with me, but also it's a group learning environment. So people learn from how each other is learning as well.
And do you have a lot of young people in your workshop, or it's maybe?
Well, here we have a contrast between the different countries that I teach in. So in England, I would say it's generally an older generation of makers, and that could be for many reasons, to do with their individual economies, what they can afford to do, the time that they have, and also knowledge. Maybe some of the younger people are not so knowledgeable. But what we find in Spain especially is that there is more younger people and a greater mixture of male and female coming to our workshops. And we think in Spain there's generally, because we have many markets and fairs, that there is generally a more visible presence of basket makers in some parts of Spain. And because of that, in the street markets, maybe some of the younger people are passing and say, oh, look, they're making baskets. Maybe that is a possibility as a way of life, as a career. So maybe that's how they find us.
Because I think that it's really important to show young people that basketry is interesting, because if we don't show the young people, after 10 or 20 years, the basketry will be I don't want to use that word, but basketry will have a problem, because if it's only for older people, I think will be hard. And Paulina, you have a lot of young people, yes, on your workshop, because I know that.
Yes, it looks differently, because we have the experience when the schools are coming, and for example, they have just 1 hour. So, it's a little bit of time, yes, for our skills. But not only these skills are important for them, for the schools, but also sharing the knowledge about is it worth to become a craftsman? Because last year, for example, the class of my son, he is 11 years old, asked me if I can show them math, how to count numbers in our work. And I said, why not? Yes, the math is everywhere, yeah. And I thought maybe I will show them how the price of the particular basket is built. What is inside this price? And it took us some time, and they could see on the numbers what is inside the one price and why it is so high, because our basket has some price, yes. And they could see that with some numbers you will not discuss. You can't discuss with the post office which need to deliver, yes. And you don't discuss with the internet provider because you need to have a shop. And the last amount that you could discuss with is the price for the basket maker finally, yes. And it shows something, how much we can make it lower and lower, for which level. For also this kind of conversations and meetings with young generation are, in my opinion, very important to show them the reality and to make them understand that there is also economy in this craft, and it should be, if it will
Yes, it
last
should be.
forever, if it should last longer. So not only, of course, we have the standard, let's say, weaving workshops with children, and we really like it. It looks very differently sometimes, because children, of course, prefer to play, not to make very difficult things. But I wanted also to mention this economical part, which we see and which we believe it's crucial.
I believe that it is also about education, not only the craftsmen, but also our future clients who will buy our products. As you say, if they know what is it and what is inside, they believe that it is worthy. Monica, I got a question for you. Can you tell more about Orska perspective, because she travel a lot and she learn crafts from people in different parts of the world, and she go there for 1 month and she learn and back to Poland and design some new product. Can you tell more about that way and this role, this craftsman role, because she have to find some craftsmen and she have to go there, and they have to want to learn her something. And is it easy to find somebody who learn, or is it hard? Can you talk more about that perspective?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, of course, with pleasure, I will tell you how it looks like from our perspective, because in my opinion, both paths, I mean, the promotion and education should go in parallel. There is a shortage of specialists. Many rare crafts might die with the death of the last specialist, so it is important to educate new ones. However, there is no need to create new things if the need to acquire them doesn't follow. So for me, this is a co-independent closed circuit. And at Orska, we strive to popularize craftsmanship. The designer and the owner of the company, Anna Orska, like you mentioned, travels the world in search of rare techniques and dying crafts. And already she has been to Mexico, Peru, Vietnam, Nepal, and a few more. She does research in Poland, but has no specific addresses. So she seeks out artisans and workshop locally, and then spends several weeks learning the craft and designing new jewelry design. The masters create components according to her design and send them to Poland to our workshop, where we finish them. This is how new collections are created. Anna seeks out these rare crafts to record them, save them for posterity, but also to popularize them. For several years now, documentary film have been made on site to record this process. Thanks to these activities, craftsmen get the chance to reach exotic places with their handicrafts. Their group of outlets expands. Sometimes they also learn something from Ana. In Mexico, for example, the designer learned the technique of alebrilles, which is used to create large sculptures, very expensive for rich American tourists. Small forms like jewelry have developed a market for Mexican artisans and opened their doors to a different kind of tourist. So that's how it works.
Okay, thanks for your voice. It's a different perspective. And Andreas, can you tell us more about school in Lichtenfels, because it's not typical, because in Poland we don't have that model. And can you tell us more how many people learn that there and is a good time for school, or maybe it's some some difficult thing in that school? Could you tell us more about school in Lichtenfels?
So years ago, the students are going a little bit lower, but now it's getting, the last 2 years is getting better and better and better. So Manfred, I don't know. So do you have the number of the students in the school? Okay, but I know they. $23? $25. So 20, so 28 students. So so you see, it's getting better. And so what we see in our city when we have events for craft, or especially for baskets and weaving culture, what we see now is that the students comes together, bring new ideas into the city, and then when you see when they start to bring the craft on, for example, on our marketplace, it's, you know, we're talking about the same thing, market, and places to see, places to feel the craft, to talk to the craftsman. That's the point where when I can see the citizen of our city, or the people who visit our city, they come to the students, they talk to them, and then you can see the interest of the craft, and they know how much work and how much education is in this basket, you know. And so I think it's you said that it's really important for the people there.
Okay, thank you. I got the next question. Do you consider the presence of crafts on the market? Market is a word which we say again and again, because it's, without market, it's hard to be a basket maker, to be significant. And what is the market position of crafts right now? Is crafts just a product, or crafts it's more than product? And Hans-Gert, how it's your perspective? Hans-Gert, sorry, Hans-Gert.
Another big question.
We have only big question in this discussion.
I see. Yeah, it's a bit. It's a bit complicated, because when you're talking about market, okay, then you have to talk about consuming products. Okay, in this market of consuming products, I think craft doesn't play a big role here. It's a niche, which can be very nice. To live in a niche, I think, can be very nice. And the question is, yeah, what do you do in this niche? I think craft can be a bit of, you know, luxury. It can connect you back to something, and I think this is a good thing. And I always quote this little example. Now we have this fashion of craft beer. And so what does it mean, craft beer? There's beer all around. Andreas will know, it's a beer area here.
Yeah, but it's the craft, like a word. It's
it changes a lot.
Yes,
This
changes
word
a lot.
Changes a lot. So it's a little luxury. You can afford it, but it's a bit more expensive. It's a limited amount produced. It's produced by a smaller company. It has maybe some specialities. It's and that covers this tiny word of craft, and I find it quite interesting. So in my neighborhood, there's a cheesemaker. He calls himself now a milk crafter. It's interesting because cheese making is a very nice term. I like it, but and that's a point. I think this is something very interesting, and it's quite new. So it maybe appears 5 years ago, or maybe longer, I don't know. But this is the thing, and me personally, I always considered my work like that. It's a bit special. You can buy everything. Nobody needs, especially my basket. It's useless. And but there is something you can transform, and I think that's quite nice.
Okay. And
May I say something?
oh, do you want to say something? Okay.
Yes, because I agree, of course. The craft is more and more popular. The word, yes, even we have craft beers. We have everything is crafty. Let's make crafty. And also, I think this is not only about baskets, but about what is inside this. The verb of making, of creating. I think there are more things hidden, like emotions, and this is what people are looking for. I can feel it like that. That it is not about the products, as you said, maybe useless, or maybe not useless, but about the emotions which are hidden in our work when we are making, and when you are making the thing, the products, but also when people coming to us, to our places, workshops, studios, institutions, what can we give them? What kind of emotions they can feel trying their hands when they are touching the materials? I think it's also about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, okay, Tim.
Can I disagree with Hans-Gert for a moment? I would disagree that your baskets are useless. I mean, they are
I wanted to ask you about
very functional and beautiful, and we shouldn't disregard beauty as just something useless. Beauty is a very important part of human existence. It enriches our daily life, and also connecting, well, for the people who are buying and using these objects and the people who are making them and the new people who are learning to make them, the connection with the natural materials is a very important point as well. So I'm connecting the beauty of your finished objects and the beauty of the material and the connection to land and to nature and to place that natural materials give us. And I think that's a very important point for the future of basket making, to help people to reconnect with nature through these natural materials. For me, that's super important.
Yes, I found it really interesting, and we see it in Poland, this really huge move to make things. My friends made the wedding ring for themselves with the professional, of course, studio. It is really important move now in Poland in many crafts, in ceramic, in jewelry. And I want to ask you if you see it also in your country. Also, Alexandra, do you see it in Asia, this movement to making things by themselves? Alexandra.
Yes,
Go.
yes, yes. Thank you for the question. Well, I would say there is some of that movement happening here, but it's at the moment still quite niche, and it's among sort of the middle and upper middle class, both in Chiang Mai and in Bangkok, where you have this sort of growing a strong sense of nostalgia for a kind of very immediate lost past, because for many here in Thailand, their parents and grandparents were just much closer to the land, and in many cases, certainly here in Chiang Mai, were themselves agriculturalists or working on the lychee farms or rice farms. And so among this sort of growing middle and upper middle class here, there is some of that trend and movement towards wanting to make things. But I think that I was going to just comment as well on this question about crafts and the market here, because I think it's quite surprising how much of a market there is for this basketry. And again, I think it is also tied to a sense of nostalgia and some loss of a way of life. But there are also other issues at play that you have this sort of diversification of the market and a real range also in quality. So, I mean, I don't know how much, you intended to go into the sort of subtleties of the issue of the market for basketry, but at least here in Thailand, you really have a great range. Some very, very finely made baskets that are available, and those who do appreciate and are willing to pay for them. But then also a kind of, quite a lot of kind of cheaper, less well-made products, craft products, also handmade, that are on the market. So I wonder if that is one difference with Europe, or if there are similarities there at all as well, because it's an interesting factor here that you have kind of a range across the board of basketry.
Thanks, Tim. And can you tell me about England or Spain? Is it important, that craft experience for people?
Again, sorry.
Sure. I'm curious if in England or in Spain, also this craft experience of doing by themselves something is important for the people surrounding you.
so as an experience that people do as a hobby or as a pastime? Yes, I think so. I think it's well, I'll talk about England. We have quite a lot. I think it's quite healthy in many respects because we have many excellent professional basket makers. And part of their living today, alongside making their baskets, is also teaching. And some of them are particularly targeting a market of people who want to come and learn and have a quality experience working with hands, working with natural materials, making beautiful objects. And they won't become professional basket makers. They have a job, they're coming, you know, to have a good time, to spend time with other people. And it gives them an insight into the craft, into making, into themselves, into the traditions. So I would say yes, it's important, and it's very much it's a useful part of the market for basket makers as part of their income. And then other basket makers, they concentrate, and they're so busy with their making that maybe they don't do that. So there's many different ways of being a basket maker, as you know, and many different ways that people earn their living from different parts of the market.
Thank you.
This time I'd like to agree with you, yes. We are running for nearly 10 years now, Academy Flechtkultur Lichtenfels, which is some school, a program of 10, 15, depends a bit, courses, each level really touching something up to very detailed, crazy things. And it's a huge success. It's a huge success. People are coming from everywhere, from Europe, everywhere in Germany, in this village. Nobody knows it. It's far out somewhere in the countryside. They love it. And we get fantastic responses on that. And so I think it's really something happening. People are really up to make this experience, get a bit connected. And we try this. We try really to get them in contact. We try to show them the tradition, because my hometown has this tradition. We have a museum, we can see that. It gives a new, for many people, it gives a new perspective. And for us, it gives an endless source of inspirations, of comments, of new experience, of this and that. It's very interesting.
How often these workshops are organized in your in your museum? How often? How often it is? You know, it's because I heard about this summer courses where a team just have been, and the other. Can you tell more?
Yes, we have a wide range. We do some really to stumble in something nice, plant aid, something willow work, something creative, doing a little basket with wool. It takes half a day or one day. It's very nice. And then you have a very wide range of students coming, because it really starts very basic, very funny, and then it develops a bit. Me and Ursula, we do this traditional Dahlhausen work. It's a bit basic. And then by purpose, we invite specialists like Tim, like François, like Karen, because we want to show this wide range, and we want to get in this discussion to see, what's happening? Why is it different? And the people around, they know our tradition, more or less, they know it, more or less. And then we see, there's another kind of tradition, there's another material. I always thought a basket is like this. No, it isn't. It's an endless story. And that makes it really interesting. And I think that makes the people come from all over Europe in this little village. It's interesting. And so in a way we succeeded, because we thought a museum is a bit boring. You have one perspective, all it's inside, it's all the past. It's a bit boring. And so this was our ambition to say, there's a world outside a museum, outside of our tradition, because there's endless, so many traditions around.
Okay, Andreas wants to say something. Okay.
It's a good discussion. The same thing like Dahlhausen we've got in Lichtenfels, and because we've got our workshops for basket workshops or something else, and I think I told you at first I'm not a craftsman, so I have another I see this from another position, but I think craft, basket or like beer or glass or something like else is a really important selling point of our cities. You know, we are a city from 20,000 people, and we have the basket tradition, we have the market, craftsmen, we have our school. So the people, they don't come to Lichtenfels why we have mainstream shops, or they can see in every city and every big or small. So they come in our region because they know here is the basket culture, the weaving culture. Here can I here can I feel the combination about nature, craft, and education. And so that's why it's really important. I think the cities have to look about the culture, had to look about their craft to make together. And that's really important, together. New things and new ways, you know. So normally the people, we have the greatest weekend in our city. The people, they don't come in our city about the music or the food. Maybe
food, yes.
Maybe
I saw good food here.
We've got 2019 over 150,000 people, because they want to see basket makers, they want to see the craft, and that's really, really, really important for the cities, around Europe and around the globe.
I've just a brief.
I got more questions, but okay.
Yeah, I will make it short, and maybe I don't want to explode this, but I have one question for Andreas. You talk about the people coming in, and we share the same experience, but what's about local people? When we started at Dahlhausen and say we do something in the museum, most of the people said, "Oh, come on, do you really believe people are coming here, making a basket? Oh, come on." Huh?
Different. It's really different. You have people for the same. They say, "Oh, basket." Do you think you can say that you can tell the same story about the Dahlhausen? But what I see that more people starting to create their gardens with weaving culture, you know, like weaving figures or art or basket. So I think it began a good new way, especially for younger people. But you need time. So it's you need time for this new way. But I think it's going to be good.
I'm really interested in the voice of Monica, because we are all looking from this side. Yeah, workshops are nice. We need to make something for people's needs. But Monica is actually selling products. In my knowledge, Orska doesn't have workshops, but it's got really expensive and rather rich jewelry and a rich product inspired by not traditional craftsmen. So Monica, tell us in the market topic, how is it to sell expensive connected with craft products? Orska, hold on, Monica. I just said that Orska has 40 employee, and it's not so small workshop. and they sell only product, and it's a beautiful product.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I have to say that we have our workshop in Poznań. So we also create our product in Poland. But that's true that we are famous also because Anna travels and cooperate with craftsmen all around the world. So Orska has been on the market for 12 years, and during that time we've watched things changed. So we've grown from a small garage company with no marketing and a few people on board to a company, like you said, with about 40 people, which has an online store, a website, social media, creates photo campaigns and videos, and which can reach people and sell products because that marketing is done. So 12 years ago, we were basically the only company that creates artistic jewelry different from the commonly available standard products. Today, there are many more of these companies. There used to be a handful of people looking for something unique. Today, there are many. Many people are looking for products. They are unique, and of a good quality. Handmade work is valuable, like you said before. So this is a closed cycle. Companies start to emerge because there is an interest, and interest arose because there was an education. A few people and institution cared about educating people like we care.
Do you believe that the craft is what is the most important in your value?
Well, I really believe that the people are tired of cheap items, of poor quality and unoriginal design. So they are looking for authenticity, durability, and timelessness. So yeah, I believe that's the main value.
Okay, Poznań is pretty close from here because it's
that's true.
It's 2 hours and 30 minutes, and from here, no, from Berlin, yeah, from Berlin. Sorry, yeah, okay, but it's still not so far. I think. Sorry for this. Yeah, okay, and the last question, last but really important question. It's about future. It's about main topic of our conversation. What do you think is most important for the future of crafts? Is it transmission, education, or marketing, or maybe something different? And I would like to say our guest to say how is his or her perspective for the future. Is crafts future bright, or maybe not bright? And who wants be first to tell about perspective? Paulina, okay, you can start.
Try. I'm always optimistic. And
yes.
I feel I really chose this way of my life consciously. A little part of reason and a lot of emotions. It was that I choose the craft way, and I'm still following these values. And Serfenta is still changing, like from ethnographic research through design, and now we are on business most of all way. This year, for our organization, which I will just remind you that we are still non-governmental organization. So all these years in the past, we are applying for the grants from the public resources. And this year is the first year in our life from the 15 years that we don't have any grant, any public support. So we are very close to the market now. Yeah. Do you want to disagree or agree?
No,
So this is kind of checking, I would say, for us, for our organization, if there is a place for this kind of institution on the market, if people are searching for our services and products and what they really need, what they are really look for. So now we are so close to people, to the real people, that we can check it, that we can ask them, and then we can see it really clear. Because even our space, our office and studio is so close. It changed also because in the past we were a little bit hidden, and this distance changed. So we are closer, and then we are also closer to our audience. So I would say all is important, in my opinion, to be on the market, to have people who really want something from us, and to let the younger generation have this opportunity to touch the craft, to learn the skills, and to be together in the society and inspire each other like we are doing. So I will not choose.
You don't have to. You can choose every option, but could you tell more about these changes between when you was organization who has support from government, and when you are here, when you don't have money from a government, how that choose your portfolio or your offer? Could you tell more about it? Because I think it's a big difference between that.
So when you are applying for the public grants, it's important to be in kind of movement, I would say, which is important for Ministry of Culture, for example. So we were realizing big projects, which were a little bit not so connected with the market, with the audience, and people couldn't visit us like that. And I see very big difference. Like in former times, we were just like in our heads. We were all the time making kind of imagination, and we could create what we wanted. But for example, books, films, exhibitions. But finally, what for? Yes. And because we always wanted to, at the beginning, we were thinking very strong to support the craftsmen in Poland. And in few years ago, we realized, but how to support them in the best way? To start selling the products, and then the economy will happen in the most fast way. And yes, it changed, and we opened the shop, then the online shop, and finally here we are, because we also need to be supported, yes, as the team who is running the organization. So this also changed very much, that we found each other as a team, especially with Lucia, we are just two leading Serfenta. This is our main and only job. We are not working anywhere else. So this is for us our life, I would say.
Part of life.
Personal.
So I believe there is a future for us. Okay, who wants be next to now to talk about future for the crafts team?
Not to disagree, but to offer Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Not to disagree, but to offer another perspective. Last year, a basket was found in a cave in the Judean desert, I think near the Dead Sea. And we were told that that was the world's oldest known basket, 10,000 years old. And it was already a beautiful basket. It wasn't a rough, badly made beginner's basket. It was a already very nicely made, complex, sophisticated basket made by a skilled craftsman. So already we know that there was a history way beyond 10,000 years old. And we're still here. We are basket makers today, still making, we hope, beautiful things, useful things. And the reason that basket makers are still here today, and we have this at least 10,000-year-old history, is because we have always innovated and experimented and used available materials that are around us. And we have used our skills as craftspeople to solve problems for the everyday. So to contain things, to collect things, to trap things, to store things. And I think this ability that craftspeople in general have, and basket makers specifically, because it's an ancient craft, we have to find ways that these skills can help us in the future, because we have many challenges ahead.
Wow. Thanks for your voice. It's really motivate to work. Okay, who wants to be next after that voice? We have our online guests too. Maybe Alexandra, do you want?
Yes, sure. Well, I would say that in Chiang Mai, the future of crafts here is quite bright, and there's a lot to be optimistic about. I think first and foremost because the people of Chiang Mai themselves really love their crafts, their basketry, and they recognize the value of it, and they continue to be the primary kind of users and consumers, in addition to producers of the craft. I mean, because of this, Chiang Mai was gained a Chiang Mai City of Crafts, UNESCO status as a City of Crafts in 2016. And I think the interest and awareness of Chiang Mai's kind of rich traditions is really going to grow. I think here probably the concerns are more about transmission and education, because as I mentioned previously, that you see quite a range of quality here. And because there is such a market demand, very often you can have this drop in quality. And I think there needs to be a significant investment in finding ways to really encourage young people to become master artisans. And I think that's a challenge, just because it is such a detailed and time-consuming line of work. And for young people today, they're just drawn to other careers. So how to do that here is a big challenge. And the other one would really be environmental awareness, and tying that more closely to the market for crafts here. So again, there's such a kind of thriving market, but I think very little understanding or awareness about where the bamboo is sourced, where the rattan is coming from, how it's being treated. And so I think there needs to be kind of a campaign tied to the marketing of crafts that also draws a direct link to just the raw materials and environmental issues here, because that is a pretty significant concern. And because, I mean, bamboo is very fast growing, but it can still be overexploited. And if it isn't replanted, it can of course, disappear from certain areas. So yeah, so I think here in Thailand and in Chiang Mai specifically, probably the focus would be on transmission and education and environmental awareness issues.
Okay, we have 3 points on bright future. Great. And who will be next?
Okay, okay. I don't know if the future is bright or will be bright. I have no idea, but I try to see it that way. We see the people around us in Germany. I don't know much about other countries. Here in Germany, you know, working life is dominated by screens, by some abstract processes. You may call it alienated or something, in which this tendency, the interest on crafting and doing things by hand and not on a screen, is growing at the same level. So that's it. When we see our customers, or we see the designers we're working with, they come with high-tech things, say, oh, we need something handcrafted on it, because otherwise it's not special, because high-tech is available everywhere, and we need a special touch on it. And the students who come to Akademie Flechtsommer is the same. Most of them are sitting all day in front of the screen, and they enjoy it. They enjoy it, do something by their hands, even if they struggle. The same thing with children. We have not so much experience with children workshops, but I know from friends, they are teachers, say it's so difficult to find children at school who can probably cut something out with scissors, which was in my generation the normal thing. When you were bored, you get a scissor, you get a newspaper, cut something out, shut up. That was a normal thing at home. But today, they said it's totally unusual. They are not able to cut the figure out of an old newspaper. And I think this is things we have to face. The challenge is, how can we respond on that as a craftsman? Okay, there is not one answer, but I think so in general, I would say, okay, we are working on the right topic. You agree?
I agree. I don't want to be a pessimist voice, but I say it very often in Poland to Polish people that in the next 10 years, the situation of Polish basket making will be different, because mostly our basket makers, masters now are over 80s, over 70s, and we are learning. We've got the movement of learning from them and recording and keeping the knowledge, but the group in the next 10 years will be different. The masters will be different from the different background, different motivations, different life, not so villagers life like now. And I can't say if it will be bright or more in the shadow, but it will. I feel it will be totally different. As you say, the times now are really challenging us. Pandemic first, now the war is close to our country. And I feel that we are in the moment of big changes. Monica, how is your perspective for a future of craft?
Well, I think we are facing many problems like the looping economic and environmental crisis that will change or actually are already changing the way we consume. So for me, craftsmanship is as a consumption in a slow version, like slow food or slow fashion, slow interior, and that is the future. However, it is already very difficult to hire a new jeweler or a goldsmith, you know. So for me, the most important thing for the future, it is an education. There is a shortage of craftsmen in Poland, and yeah, that's the most important thing to do in the future. That lesson has to be learned.
I would like just a little bit about the education. Monica mentioned the most important. Yeah, I just want to say that in our town in Cieszyn, there is a new project which is coming, and we are very much involved. And this is maybe a voice for Andreas and Manfred, because maybe in the future we could do something together, because we will have a school of crafts. not only for basket making craft, but the general, because our town is quite famous for the craft tradition. And it is just in the process of beginning. So we are very interested in your experiences here. And of course, yours as well, and everybody, because this is what we already said, we don't have vocational schools, so we are really engaged in this way, because in Serfenta we are able to lead workshops, but the school is something new. And we will work on it together in our team, how it should work, how it should looks. So your experiences here will be very important for us, and we could do it in some partnership.
And I think it's really important that we can design this school, because we started, and we can think about market, we can think about masters, and we can build some new model to this.
And we are very looking to visit the school. For me, it will be another time. And since we have at least one teacher at our audience, we would like to meet you. And maybe tomorrow in the morning, we would like to visit and know the school a little bit from everywhere and talk with teacher, maybe at least one teacher or some student. So please don't hurry up when we finish. We need you for a moment.
Okay, and last, Andreas, could you tell us your perspective for the future of craft?
As oh, there's every time a future. So I'm still positive in my work and my whole life. So I think you say the most important thing is education. Is education, and bring all of the craft and the everything to a new generation. Marketing is also, I think, very important. That's what we learned about in the time of the Corona pandemic. We have in the market here in our city. So for me, I was really impressed when I see that more craftsmen and women start to make their own online shops. Yeah, they try new things to sell their products. This is good. This is great. And I told you so that we have as a city a unique selling point. So basket, weaving, craft. You say the same at your hometown, Hans-Gert, the same, and Tim. So there's so many regions in Europe and around the world. They've got the same unique selling point. So what I see, the impact that living crafts is a chance and is important for our city, and important for the craftsmen, and especially for the basket and weaving culture. So, and I don't know. I think it comes from Monica. I agree, you all. But the sustainability of the product is also a huge advantage for the future of the trade, and especially with regard to the climate discussion. And this discussion is it comes from the younger generation, and this creates many opportunities, because we are seeing that we need environmentally friendly and durable products. And I think that these are also being valued more and more. So yeah, there is a future. and there's a chance. And so we had to keep this chance.
There is a future. It's good to hear. That's his future. Okay, and do you have any question? I ask our audience, not only audience in Lichtenfels, even audience online. Yes, we have a question. Okay. Okay, hold on.
So, ich mache es in Deutsch, weil meine Muttersprache die verbindet sich mit dem Englischen, dass ich gar nicht mehr gut. Also ich mache es aus Gründen in Deutsch. Zwei Sachen sind mir hier aufgefallen. Das eine ist die Gleichsetzung von Crafts und Handwerk. Dem mag ich nicht zustimmen. Crafts ist eine Tätigkeit, die mit den Händen betrieben wird. Und Handwerk ist immer ein Ding, das von formalen Qualifikationen abhängt und das von Verbandszugehörigkeiten sich definiert. So da müsste man auch drüber sprechen, wenn es darum geht, wo finden wir eine Zukunft für das Kunsthandwerk. So, unsere Kunsthandwerker müssen international mit den Craftsmen gleichgestellt werden. Sie müssen die Möglichkeit kriegen, sich ihr Wissen da zu angeln, wo sie der Überzeugung sind, dass es sinnvolles Wissen für sie gibt und nicht da, wo die Verbände sagen, da musst du deine Ausbildung gemacht haben, damit wir dir das Recht geben, dieses Handwerk auszuüben. Ich denke, das ist hier auch in der Runde so. Hans-Gerd ist wahrscheinlich der Einzige, der in Deutschland das Handwerk ausüben dürfte. Möglicherweise auch du nicht. Bist du Meister? Gut. Der ganze Rest der Runde dürfte in Deutschland nicht im Bereich Crafts tätig sein. Sie würden es verboten kriegen.
Yeah, I know what you are talking about.
Hold on a second, because we have to say our audience. Could you explain that question, because it's about words and it's a German word?
Yeah,
and
I think it's a very German suspect you are talking about, because it was, or in this German craft tradition, it is, you have to be formally educated. You have to have a degree in crafts. And then later you get a master degree in crafts. And it was at my age, so I finished the school somewhere in the 80s, a long time ago. I was forced to do this master exam, and they threatened me. Yeah, I was forced. I said I start my basket making workshop together with Ursula, and then they said, yes, but you don't have this master degree. I said, yeah, but how can I manage to make a master degree? This is a very small craft. There's no opportunity. In tradition, you finish your apprenticeship, you go to a master, at least 3 years minimum, and then you can apply for a master degree. But in the 80s, it was impossible because there was no company to go for, and I was not going for that. So I said, oh no, I do it on my own, or we do it on ourselves. And then they say, yeah, it's okay, but after 3 years, you have to have this master degree on your own. You have to apply for it, you have to pay for it, you have to do this exam and everything. And as you can imagine, I was very busy and I don't give so much on these authority things. And so I just continue working. And then I get very, very, how should I say, rude messages say, oh, we stop your business if you are not going to do your master exam right now. And then, yes, I started to do these things. It was a 2-year process. It costs a lot of money. And I learned nothing in this master thing. I have to say, I'm sorry, but but it was that. And then later in the 90s or in the early 2000s, I think in the early 2000s, they stopped that. So in many businesses, as hairdressers, as basket makers or someone else. All crafts who are not considered as being very technical, they said, oh no, it's not important anymore. We want people to go into the craft, so then they have a job. That's it. And this is the situation he's talking about. So it was very formalized here, and he is right when he says maybe Tim were not allowed to work as a craftsman if he had the same story than I had, because he had no master degree. So, but it's over now, and I don't know, there's a long discussion if it will come back, I don't know. I am not into it, I don't care. And yeah, but you're right. But I think it's a very typical German thing. And sometimes we talk about this because education is, maybe I don't want to make it too long, but in our workshop, we had once an apprentice. You know, the old way. You go to a master, 3 years, have an apprentice. I would never do that again. The apprentice was nice, no problem. But bureaucracy and organizing this system was a nightmare. And economically, it was a disaster. And so, yeah, I hate to say that, but for me, and so my opinion changed a bit. I was never convinced so much in this concept of school. I'm sorry to say that here, but it's that. So I said, okay, I think a proper apprentice has to go to a master, stay with the master, and then when he left the master, he has time enough to explore the rest of the crafts world if he likes. I was never convinced on this school thing, but it's more or less over in Germany. I was, I think, the only one, or maybe another one in Germany who had an apprentice in basketry, and I would never do it again. But this is a thing we can work on, because I think it's a very important thing. So I have to pay the apprentice, which is fair enough. Yeah, there's a minimum wage. It's really not much, but economically it was a disaster. So if I got some money to educate people, it will change a lot. But that's by the way.
It sounds that past can be worse than the future. It sounds that the past can be worse than the future.
I would just add to your question. Can you understand my English? Yeah, because you asked also about the differences when we are talking about the specific words. Yeah, craft, and then for the other hand, very German expression, handwork. Yeah. And when we were preparing this meeting, we were also discussing how we should call it, especially me and Manfred. many mails we shared. Because on our side, in our opinion, we need to talk about it as wide as we can. As wide, you mean to connect and to join as much people who would like to take part in this discussion, also from the world, because we have international audience, panelists. So it is not about, we would like also to talk and discuss not only about this particular basketry maybe craft, but also we invited a jewelry person, Monica. And that's why we decided to think about it very widely. This just for answer you shortly.
Do you have more questions? Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question especially to Tim. How do you think what young people find attractive in the workshop? This is kind of psychological needs or relation. What kind of motivation they have to join the workshop? Because in my opinion, I'm sometimes work with young people. Now we have a culture of quick, no faults. First time you try and first time success. So this is a bigger wave of thinking and providing people. Normally, we had a lot of faults in our life, and faults train us to continue. Also now people are very impatient. Everything must be now. Not my first basket should be perfect now, not second basket, third basket, maybe 101 basket. How is your opinion? How are your impressions about it?
Well, first of all, it's very difficult to generalize because every workshop participant who comes through the door, they are coming from a different place. Different ages, different backgrounds, different experiences. I think generally there's a desire to make, to touch material, to create again. Specifically their expectations, it's so broad, you know, and I think generally, I mean, you're saying that people today, we have an expectation to achieve very quickly. I think that quite quickly sort of disappears when they start handling the material for the first time. And they realize, I mean, just this week, we had a couple of the students, they made their very first basket in the workshop in Darhausen. And I had such admiration for them because of their patience. They stuck with it. They made really nice baskets at the end of the 3-day workshop. And I think they were talking about how they had a greater understanding and appreciation of what we do at the end of the 3 days. And one of them said that they learned a lot about themselves, which they weren't expecting. They didn't know they could be so patient because it was a difficult basket. I have to say, it wasn't a beginner's basket, but there they were, beginners. And they stuck with it and they enjoyed it and they learned about themselves. Like they didn't know they had this capacity within them, and went away happy and wanting more. They were saying, oh, when's the next workshop? Yeah, but I can't give you one answer because there isn't one. There's you know, there's almost as many different reasons for coming as there are people. But I think reconnection to materials, reconnection to using the hands, a break from using the screens, as Hans-Gert was talking about. Some of them perhaps a desire to become professional makers one day. Some of them, they're already makers and they want a different perspective. And my perspective as a basket maker, researcher, artist is different to Hans-Gert's because I didn't do the training that he did. And I think there are many ways to be a basket maker today. And it's important that those many ways are still possible in the future, that we have in-depth, high-level training, but also there was the possibility for people to find their own ways into basket making, as I did. I trained as an artist through a degree, through a master's, and then I discovered basket making a few years later. And I found my own way through going to different basket makers and learning from them. And it was a very enriching process, and of course, one that hasn't stopped. Thank you.
Okay, we have more questions. Okay.
Hello, it's about a different topic, but it's part of it. I feel in Europe mainly there is this great need in providing willow for basket makers. Well, I know we don't use all willow, but a lot of basket makers use willow, and I think it's getting more and more difficult for professionals to get willow and good willow. And I mean, I don't think the craft can last if the willow growers disappears. It's a big subject as well in Poland, I think. In Germany, enormous subject, and in France it starts to be problematic. And that means, well, I have a point of view, of course, on this. We shall enlarge, not proposing maybe agriculture, willow growing only to craft people, but to agriculture students. And that is a very big issue because we have to make students in agriculture know that there's not only vegetable we can grow if you want to change life and go back to the field, but you can grow many other things as willow. And if you do it well, it can be very useful for other people. Because as a craft person, I know the subject a bit. Growing willow and make the baskets, it's two different words. It's very linked, and it's very good to have the two activities, but not everybody can have the two activities. And some people are only craft people, they live in the city, and some, well, you know about it. So I think it's very important in each one. Well, I know friends, you're in Germany, you're in Poland, and maybe in Spain, it's a big problem as well. I think we should promote it to the agriculture schools a lot. Well.
Okay, thanks for your voice.
Just a little thing. On our last annual meeting, we visit a research center for willow, not far from Berlin. Very interesting. Years before, we visit the willow grower, Markus, you may know. And we met a biologist who is in this willow research. It was so interesting. And so I think for everyone in this, were part of this annual meeting, and we talked really all morning about this. We visited the willow beds, everything is so interesting, and there's such a big interest in that. But we as an association, we can't start things also, we can't do it, but it's a very important topic, and there are people you can connect with. It's interesting. There's a lot of things going on, but you know, as a single craftsman or craftsperson or with a small association, yes, it's interesting, but it doesn't change anything.
And this is also about climate changing, as you said, because we all know that Europe is more and more dry. That and our materials need water.
And the current news, we can say this about providing the materials. Yeah, we willow, and then there are of course. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
More materials than not only in willow. So we need also, of course, to think widely. Like, for example, when we started our work, we found much more like straw, of course, roots, wood, and cattail in basket making. And there was no possibility to buy cattail. If you would like to try, if you would like to start weaving, there was no chance. And a few years ago, we I forgot English word. We ordered huge amount of harvest. We ordered the harvest of cattail from the basket maker, who knows very well which plant exactly would be good, yeah, for this work. So not only willow, but also I found it difficult this year because we were looking for ordering the material for our work, willow exactly, and it was hard to find a good partner for the cooperation.
We also have got problem with other materials like rye straw, because really not so many people are interested in rye now, not in the straw actually, but with agriculture in Poland, and it is harder. But often we say, and I believe that if we've got the skills for weaving, we can just change the materials. It don't have to be willow for maybe in the future. I'm thinking of the, you know, far and long future. Maybe it will change in some way.
Okay.
You can disagree.
Yes. Okay, Alexandra or Monica, do you have any question, or maybe you want to say something, or maybe we have some question for our online audience, but I see that it's only few person there. Alexandra, Monica, do you want to say something for finish our discussion?
Well, Maybe just to express my gratitude for the opportunity to participate, and it's really so inspiring to see all of the interest and engagement with the crafts and basketry there, because having been in Thailand for so long, yeah, just it's something that I really wasn't aware of, but of course have been immersed in it here, and it's been something I've been thinking a lot about here. So it's really wonderful and inspiring to see this discussion, and just all of the key points and links that have been made to the importance of education, and of course the points about environment and climate change are definitely key and front and center here in Thailand. So yeah, just to thank you and to say how encouraging it is to see the kind of commitment and engagement with crafts there. And I think it would surprise, I know it would surprise many Thai artisans and craftspeople, because there is this kind of assumption that, oh, well, the modern developed West, they've kind of gone beyond crafts, but in fact, that is very much not the case. So I hope there will be some opportunity in the future as well to bring some of the Thai artisans into these discussions. And I think they would be very inspired and encouraged to see this interest in Europe, in the the so-called developed West, that there is this commitment and valuing of crafts. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
I just want to add that I think it is super important to talk about challenges and the future. The education is important, the cooperation is important. So let me know if you need help, and let's cooperate. Of course, if you have some questions about the promotion of the craft, you can send me an email. That's not a problem. I'm here for you. So thank you for the invitation. It was super. It was a real pleasure to be with you online today. Thank you.
Okay, I remember 3 words from our discussion about future, and one is education. The second is market, and the third is climate. And I think it's maybe 3 most important challenges for future. Not even craft. I think it's more than craft. And thank you for this discussion. It was really nice to hear your voice and your difference. And thank you for being here with us. And have a good time in Lichtenfels, because it's a start, and we have a lot of interesting events here. And Paulina, do you want to say something for? And thank you for this discussion.
Manfred, we need to say together maybe that we made this possible to meet with all of you. So thank you very much. Okay. For this possibility to gather here in this beautiful place, and maybe in the future we will organize something similar. What do you think?
Yes, Paulina, I think so. And what I take home from this discussion is it was a really good discussion, and it pointed out where the future of the craft, where the discussion, where the topics are. You said education is the first. Is it good to have masters and formal education, or is it more the free education, the collecting of skills and use it for his own craft? This is one of the points we have to discuss in the future. the point of climate is, or marketing is the next point. Some craftsmen are doing very, very good work, but they can't set her products in scene, and make it, to highlight it and to show it, and to tell the narrative, the story behind these baskets. This is the second thing I take home. And of course, climate and things. I'm convinced that basketry with naturally grown fibers has a future, despite the water stress and so. But every plant collects the carbon dioxide, and this is a factor we must point out of in the future. I see more some impulses for next discussions and more topics. So I'm convinced that this will be a part of some discussions in the next future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.